أوراق للحضور على المنصة لنبدأ الجلسة، لأنه بدأنا متأخرين كثير، وأخشى أن يؤثر هذا على الجلسات اللاحقة. ففي البداية يعني نشكركم على حضوركم، وقبل ذلك وبعد نشكر معالي الدكتورة موضة الحمود على كل جهودها الطيبة وعلى إبداعها الكبير الحقيقة في هالجامعة المتميزة، الجامعة المفتوحة، اللي تمثل أحد الحلول المهمة الحقيقة في تطوير التعليم العالي. فهذا المؤتمر يفتح آفاق كثيرة في قضايا التعليم المفتوح، ونأمل أن تعم الفائدة على الجميع. لأن بدأنا متأخر، فترة المحاضرة الجلسة الحلقة النقاشية هذه مجرد ساعة، راح منها 5 دقائق. راح نبدأ الآن بالأوراق، وراح نعطي من 7 إلى 10 دقائق لكل ورقة حتى نتيح فرصة للنقاش. راح نبتدي مع الأخت حنان حسن علي خليل والسيد مارتن أبنر. تفضلون إذا هنا تقدمين أو على البوديوم مثل ما تحبين. شكرا. تفضلي.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. The paper entitled Using Electronic Communications Tool in Online Group Activities to Develop Collaborative Learning Skills. The paper is written by me and Prof. Martin Ebner, a prof in Graz University of Technology. Firstly, no one can deny that e-learning is one of the newest forms of education that offer rich educational opportunities. However, a potential problem students face is feeling of isolation while studying. Although e-learning overcomes a lot of problems of traditional learning and face-to-face learning, it still has a big problem. The online students feel with isolation, feel with loneliness. As a result, we have to design some strategies that encourage and promote interaction and communication among the students. One of these strategies is to design online group activities. Online group activity is one of the strategies that may use to overcome this problem, as the students can work and collaborate with each other. Group activities provide several important benefits in online teaching and learning environments as follows. Create a sense of learning community, which is important for online students. Help participants discuss concepts that promote deeper understanding of the material, engage participants in the learning process, and increase participation, improve learning, and produce higher quality results. But how can the members of the group communicate and interact with each other? They need tools to communicate and interact with each other. It is the electronic communication tools. Electronic communication tools provide the key to design online group activities. They help facilitate action-oriented teams working together over geographic distance by providing tools that aid communication and collaboration. As we know, communication tool is divided into 2 types. The first type, synchronous communication tool, and the other type is asynchronous communication tool. Synchronous communication tools اللي احنا بنسميها المتزامنة. Learners have to communicate at the same time, while asynchronous communication tools, it is the tools that learners can communicate at any time. But there is a lack of studies that suggests which type of communication tools is effective in online group activities that develop collaborative learning skills. And it is the focus of my study. Therefore, the purpose of this study is to investigate the effect of using synchronous and asynchronous communication tools in online group activity on developing collaborative learning skills. Research methodology. Firstly, research design. The research design that used was the design of 2 experimental groups. The first group used the synchronous communication tool, and the other group used asynchronous communication tool. Research participants. Participants belongs to one of 2 groups of learners. The learners had enrolled in instructional design course in Instructional Technology Professional Diploma Department at Mansoura University in Egypt. The sample is divided into 2 groups. The first group consisted of E10 learners, they used synchronous communication tool, which is Skype, in their online group activity, while the second group consisted of 16 learners. They used asynchronous communication tools, which is Wiki, in their online group activities. The research instrument that was the checklist of collaborative learning skills scale. It is the instrument that helps assess both groups of learners' development of collaborative learning. The checklist consists of 44 statements and was applied on participants of the two groups. After using the communication tools, which either synchronous and asynchronous at the end of the course, and it is the checklist that was used. Research procedures. The learners of Instruction Technology Professional Diploma Department at Mansoura University in Egypt had enrolled in Instruction Design course. The course was available on Moodle. Each group of learners received the same instruction as did the other group. The only difference was that one group participated in online group activity using a synchronous tool, which was Skype, and the other online group participated in online group activity using a synchronous communication tool, which was Wiki. A checklist of collaborative learning skills was applied on the learners of the two groups after finishing their online group activities using the communications tool at the end of the course. Then, an independent sample t-test was conducted to determine whether or not a significant difference between collaborative learning skills of the two groups. We expected that the two groups of learners would demonstrate similar development of collaborative learning skills. The results. After the checklist of collaborative learning skills was applied on participants of the two groups, an independent sample t-test was conducted to compare the degree of collaborative learning skills of the first group that used the synchronous communication tool with the degrees of collaborative learning skills of the second group that used a synchronous communication tool. The data in table indicate a significant difference between the first group that used the synchronous communication tool and the second group that used a synchronous communication tool. The result suggests that developing collaborative learning skills was better in the group that used a synchronous communication tool than the group that used synchronous communication tools in online group activities. Discussion. Although using synchronous communication tool Skype enabled the learner to accomplish tasks and participate in online group activities almost immediately, it was less effective to develop collaborative learning skills. There was a big noise during the students chatting with each other. They can't hear each other. There is less time to think about what they wanted to say or their response to another. Communication was so difficult among learners because of the speed of data transaction with the slower connections. While using asynchronous communication tools, which was Wiki, an online group activity, was more appropriate to develop collaborative learning skills. It possesses the advantages of being able to involve people from multiple time zones. Participants of the group activity could work with each other in a more organized way. They could add, modify, and make changes to the document of the activity, and they had the ability to comment either on the group activity. A synchronous communication tool enables the flexibility. Participants could receive the information when it's most convenient for them. There is less pressure to act on the information or immediately respond in some way. More time was allowed for responses, which oftentimes results in enriched critical thinking and quality response. Learners had time to digest the information and put it in the proper context and perspective. Conclusion. A synchronous communication tool was ideal for most collaborative writing and editing group activities. It promoted group work, peer editing skills, and multiple revision. As a result, the study supports using asynchronous communication tools in online group activities to develop collaborative learning skills. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much for this informative presentation, and yet a very quick one, so we appreciate. Now it's your move, Mr. Cameron, please.
First of all, I'd like to say thank you very much for all of you and for the committee as well. Today, I'm presenting about the design implementation of a feedback system over the wireless LAN. In fact, we were talking about the quality assurance, and you say about the open university or whatever, you know, even a traditional university, it's important, we know about the quality assurance and how the computer science is front to the quality assurance. As the objective of my paper is this aims of proposed wireless laboratory feedback system over quality assurance private network, avoid of the heavy traffic of Asia cell public network, for example, SMS delay due to when the load on the public network in my country. We got Asia cell. This is a very popular net, and we got a problem in university. What I solve this problem because I am not knowledge gap working on knowledge gap. I'm working on the problem solving because I'm computer science. What I solve that problem, reduce the cost, space, traffic network, and time. We all know about it. It is it's a very the technology reduce the cost, time. We are going to know about it in a few minutes. Provide more tidy. It's more tidier. Instead, we have got a big building or rooms to save the papers or paper you can save in a computer. That means that about the tidy and untidy. It means traditional feedback. Traditional feedback, it's an old traditional feedback, needs spaces, but in a new technology make that, we don't need spaces, I mean, for feedback system. Health effectiveness. Health is very important. We were talking about health effect. For example, I've been here for 2 days. We were talking about mobile learning, e-learning, mobile learning. Mobile learning is great. It's good for young stuff, for the new generation. But you have to think about it's a disadvantage of it as well, because mobile, we know it's not good for health, and lots of problems nowadays created because of the mobile. User-friendly, the system is very user-friendly. I make it very easy because not all the students in the university, I mean, though all students in universities, they know computer, they are not expert in computer, because some department, they don't know that much computer. They know like a Microsoft, thing like that. I have to take advantage of the Microsoft and design this system or create this system for those people that are not familiar, very familiar or no expert in a computer with computer science. Outgoing, great thanks for the all organized university authorities, also everyone that worked for succeed this conference, especially AOU and the committee members and organized committee members as well. Over the past decade, technology has made great steps. The most important and revolutionary items is certainly the wireless computer communication system, because of the convenience and popularity of the private network technology. As I said, the public network used to use SMS feedback system. It is a feedback, the traditional feedback, it's very bad. It's very traditional and it's not that good. But we are thinking, because in old days, up to 2003, it was sanctioned over Iraq, and Iraq make a sanction over Kurdistan as well. We were too sanctioned over my city, my region. Because of that, we were very late up to 2003. When I backed from Britain, I went back to my country. I was working there. I was thinking to make things better and work. I was in 2006, 2007, I was thinking about the feedback by SMS. All the students, they're moaning about it. They say it is costly, it costs us money, and the SMS delay as well, the net of Asia cell, it is very very crowded or rush from 9 to 3 o'clock every weekday. We got 9,000 students and staff in Suleiman University. If you want to send the SMS, it will take like 15 minutes or sometimes take 4 hours, 3 hours until reach to the end. The WCCS modified the traditional paper and pencil classroom feedback of the lecture evaluation system toward wireless laboratory feedback system. Wireless laboratory feedback system is better way to evaluate the teacher ability by student in university. Of course, it is better because SMS or mobile, it is creating a problem. There are lots of cancer or the problem, health problem because of the mobile. Also the security, it's not secure because trust is very important, but sometimes some people, they don't mind, they don't care about it. Student, maybe you tell them, use SMS feedback system by your mobile, just send number for the quality assurance manager. Maybe he don't care, he's young, maybe you give it to somebody else to doing his job, his duty. That's why I was thinking to create this wireless laboratory feedback system by the simple software and make life easier for students and for the university as well. And the security, and I give them only 15 minutes for doing feedback in a laboratory, in a quality assurance laboratory. Generally, nowadays, we all know about it. Now the younger generation, they are very comfortable with utilizing computer technology whenever before. That's simple, we all know about it. But the problem now here, it's long delay of SMS over Asia Cell public network. We solved it. My colleague and I, we solved the problem of the Asia Cell when anyone, a student in a university, they send the SMS, they don't reach, it's take a long time to reach. There are, as I mentioned before, there are approximately 8,000 students and staff are available in the university campus from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. during weekday. And all of these on an Asia Cell public network. Mobile implementation and replaced by wireless laboratory feedback system rather than SMS or Bluetooth or feedback system in an excellent solution for delay and cost. The public Asia Cell network mobile communication company is very popular and, what I said before, busy network in Suleimani city, especially in university campus. Why we are thinking about to find a solution, that's a solution to create this system or design this system. It is only 35, it's a private network, we call it quality assurance private network. The overcrowded, in the Asia Cell public network at the university campus Suleimani, is one of the main factors of SMS delay. Of course, 9,000 in a university, it is effect of the performance of the net, of the Asia Cell net. The idea of wireless laboratory feedback system or laboratory feedback system over the private quality assurance wired or wireless network to solve the SMS delay and student not spend any penny because they're all of, the student, they don't like to spend money or it is cost if it's not good for them. For the feedback activity and controlling the result of the feedback because of the time limit, it is the security reason because maybe student, they don't reply or send a message or somebody else will do their duty. Now, we are all teachers, most of us are teachers, we know about the feedback. In the university, the feedback is activity, the environment, activate the environment of learning. Feedback is very important. All day, the teachers went to, or the head of department or quality assurance manager just went to the class. They asked for how the thing going on, something like that. But nowadays, when the technologies came back after, I'm talking about my university, after 2003, the technology have good role or important role for quality assurance for feedback. Good chance for lecturers to know his/her weakness in classroom during academic year. Of course, this quality, the feedback is very good. We all know about it. It's very good. The teacher knows his weakness, or you have to change his attitude or his policy in a class. If it's good, it's good. You have to try to become better. But if you have something mistake, you have to. This is why we do the feedback. We all know the types of feedback is the traditional feedback, paper and pen, or word of mouth is very traditional, or wireless laboratory feedback system, what is that, the system we created. And this is an example of the traditional feedback. The old days, we used to use that type of the traditional feedback. And this SMS feedback system, this classroom SMS by SMS, I think it's my idea. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't like it because it's costly and take time. And I made my student avoid from using mobile. It's good. You 15 minutes, you avoid the student to don't use mobile, because still you don't know the mobile. It's good. It's very good. It's a good communication for for society. But every advantage, it must be an advantage as well, because mobile got an advantage as well. Because of that, I was thinking to students, don't spend money, don't and far from avoiding to using mobile, and also the SMS delay for our net, ASIA-cell communication as well. This is an example of this image from the student using this channel, private quality assurance wireless network. This is going to, and within 3 seconds, calculate everything. We got Microsoft Excel, just a form, just student, fill it, just 1 to 5. This all about the teacher. They say about the teacher. This system make it answer, like 3 seconds. In 3 seconds, give you the result of the teacher and print out all the result of the teacher, and print it out, then email for the teacher as well. System layout. This system is very simple. I made it simple because I know computer science students, engineering students, they are very good. They are familiar with using a computer. But for example, some other students in other departments, they are not that good. They are not as much as good the computer science student. That's why I was thinking, not just me, my friend, and we are thinking to make something easy for those people. We don't have to think all the time about the clever student. You have to think about, lazy student as well. You have to be fair with them. If something is difficult, maybe they don't use it. They say, no, they are not going to participate with that activity. Just 2 more minutes.
Just 1 minute.
Sorry.
Yeah,
and something is about the private and the private network. This is 3. This example of traditional feedback, SMS feedback system, and the last one is wireless laboratory feedback system. The SMS feedback system is take like 4 hours, sometimes from 15 minutes to 4 hours. But our system, it take just 15 minutes. For 35 students, we give it to them in a class, and within 3 seconds calculation, everything, send a report for the teacher as well. And this is a triangle. This system create a communication between the teacher, student, and quality assurance manager. We do this activity twice a year because we have to know about the teacher ability by this system. And this is ICT. It's about the old generation or old techniques and new techniques, and the role of ICT to change the traditional feedback or the others toward to wireless or online. This is a forum, student just only. This forum we got in Arabic and Kurdish as well, because you got a Kurdish and Arabic students as well. They have to just fill in one computer 1 to 5. If the teacher is good, 5. If the teacher is not good in some field, just give them 1, 2, or whatever. Just send it to, just send, that's it, save it, it's going to the server, and everything automatically do all the calculation. And this is the diagram for that I make very easy, make using the Visual Basic and my MS Excel. And thank you very much. Thanks, and sorry for taking your time. I'm sorry, I think I take, thanks a lot.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Kamran, for this fruitful presentation. الآن لضيق الوقت لازم يعني we move quickly للسيد أيمن عبد الصمد في محاضرة الفيديو أثرها ودورها في سياق نظام التعليم المدمج. تفضل الأخ أيمن. 10 دقائق رجاء. 10 دقائق.
السلام عليكم. I would like to welcome all of you, and again we go back to the story of video lecture. I know that a lot of my colleagues in this forum, this conference has already talked about that, but I think I have something new to tell you about video lecture. My concern is not to design a good video lecture or to tell or to inform about the importance of video lecture. I just want to measure the impact of the video time lecturing on the performance of students. That's the aim of my presentation. So I will move quickly in some slides, some basic information that you know. This is our agenda. And then some definitions about the blended learning. I think all of you know that blended learning is to mix electronic learning and face-to-face meeting. We know that video lectures are important resources for this blended learning context. Now, something new here about student result prediction. We know that a lot of research have been made to prepare and to know, to be able to predict the student mark before the end of the semester or the year, because we need to take further action before that become too late. And a lot of researchers in that domain have evoked or informed us about a lot of factors that are determinant in predicting student marks before the, let's say, the actual grade appear at the end of the semester. That will help education professionals to better manage the learning process, and also they can intervene in advising endangered students before it becomes too late. Okay, my research question is, to what extent the video lecturing time duration could be considered as an efficient predicting factor for students in the blended context? Is there any correlation between the total video lecturing time of a student with its final examination grade? So I had some approach to answer this question. My approach is stands on 3 major steps. First of all, the data was collected from YouTube, where I posted my video lecture for a specific course from the AAU, and then from the LMS, the Learning Management System from Arab Open University Kuwait branch, to get the log access of students on that video. Then I used two mathematical tools. One is the statistical tool, the regression analysis, to get the relation between these two entities. And then I tried to verify this relation using a neural network tools. A neural network tools is like artificial intelligence application software that use some biological property to find some pattern in behavior of students. This is our view of the YouTube channel, and you can see that students are, for the last month, for example, they have scored about 7,000 minutes of viewing the lecture on YouTube. then you can have a lot of information from YouTube about the origin, the duration, the days of the weeks the student have viewed that video. And then the data were collected in this table, which shows the relation between the total viewing time for each student and the final grade in the final exam the last semester. The graph represents the scattering graph about the distribution of this grade. Now let's apply our regression tools to find whether there is any linear relation between the two entities. This is the role of the regression analysis, is to find a linear relation between the total viewing time, video lecture, and the grade earned at the end of the semester. So we verified with the statistical tool that we get a linear relation. It's given with this equation you can see, where y is the grade earned at the end of the semester, and x represent the duration of video lecture, with a correlation measured about 0 to 11. So correlation is positive. It means that there is a relation between these two entities, but it's not too big, because the relation generally is measured between -1 and 1. If it's positive, it means that there's some, the two entities go in the same way. If someone goes increased, then the other will be affected positively. But we still say, I'm not very convinced for that value because it's too small. So with the next step in the conclusion, I will propose something, some experimental protocol to try to enhance the correlation. Now, using the neural network method, we know that MATLAB, the simulator, we can use for many kind of application. It has a neural network toolbox to help us finding this kind of relation. We can find also that MATLAB, or the neural network toolbox of MATLAB, give us very similar expression, relationship between the total viewing time and the grade earned at the end of the semester. So we can say that effectively there is a relation between the amount of time spent by each student in a viewing lecture and its performance grades, specifically in the final exam at the end of the semester. So we can say that video lecturing has a positive impact on the achievement of learning in a blended context. But is that an accurate result? I think we need to investigate more in that way, in the sense that the number of samples I used was very reduced. I have about 48 samples only. The data was not...
Time up, please.
Conclusion?
Yeah, please.
Yeah. I will conclude by that we shall proposing a new protocol, experimental protocol, to enhance that correlation and to really be able to consider the total viewing time as a factor in predicting the overall of the student in a typical course. At the end, e-lecture offers flexible learning possibilities, but there is a little research about the design and adequate usage for effective learning. Thank you for your listening, and if you have any question, I will be more happy to answer you.
شكرا على المحاضرة القيمة. والآن مع أيضا مداخلة مميزة من الأستاذ حسن شرف الدين والأخ شاكر العقلاني، أيهما؟ تفضل طال عمرك. 10 minutes, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I will take my time, just 5 minutes, and then leave other 5 minutes to my colleague to complete our presentation. Our paper has to do with the TMA, which is the most controversial debate among all the family, among all the university family. That's among the tutors, among the students. This has been, a problem among all the branches also. The idea here is we are trying to find what are the factors that are contributing and making the TMA not reliable that much. What are the what kind of solutions we can share together in order to make it more effective or more reliable? We all know that OU, we adopting 25% of physical tutorial and 75% of supported self-learning. So we know we can control the 25%. That is in terms of the final exams and midterm exams. But the rest of that, which is 75% as the open learning, we are not quite sure whether we can control this for the students or not. We face many difficulties in achieving this percentage. The study will try to analyze the factors that render the formative assessments. We have formative and we have summative assessments. So the idea is that there are many questions that came during this period since the establishment of the university for 10 years. The students are really well prepared to tackle the TMAs or not. The students, do they really need a course in research methodology, or they are ready from their high school? They are ready to write introduction, ready to write the conclusions, the citation, references. Do the Arab Open University, do they have good infrastructures to tackle this issue? Does the TMA enable the students to acquire analytical or critical skills? More questions has to do with the investing the time of our tutors. We look at it from economic point of view, that we are wasting the resources of our time of our tutors. So we need to use it in an efficient manner. Some people, they are saying, is it more constructive to have students give oral in-class presentation rather than having TMA? Or some people, they are, whether we can just give them quizzes or maybe we delete it. So really there are many questions we usually face them. So for this, we tried to collect information from our colleagues in the 3 departments, business, English, and IT. We selected the idea or the methodology for this is to collect data using survey, using questionnaire, and we got about 35% of the responses from our staff members. The 10 questions we listed here, and also here we have the findings. Because of the time, I would like Dr. Ashakra to come and explain to us what did we find from this questionnaire. Thank you.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, first of all, allow me to congratulate the team who have worked so hard to bring about the success of this conference. Thank you very much for bringing about all those intellectuals within this, our first conference on e-learning, and we'd love it to be an ongoing, let's say, ritual that we'll be doing on and on in order to improve, because technology keeps on expanding and so is learning. The speakers yesterday addressed many issues regarding particularly the stress on pedagogy, the stress on the content, on the syllabus design of blended learning, but little has been addressed in terms of assessment. Assessment actually is very important because by the end of the day, the students are supposed to show how they have benefited from their learning experience through assessment, and whether it's a fail or pass, it actually brings about so much response, some sort of emotional responses, to the point that it could be acute at times. So one of the assessments that, as my colleague stated, is so controversial is the TMA. So this paper actually stresses or tests the validity and the reliability of TMAs within the Arab Open University in Kuwait branch in particular. I hope that by the end of this presentation, our justifications and of our findings and our ensuing recommendations would find a positive response from the high officials in order to improve, or at least to, let's say, engender some changes in this overall continuous assessment. The consensus, first, I'm going to talk about our findings in the questionnaire that we conducted. The first one, actually, the first finding is regarding the AU students' preparedness to tackle TMAs. We were also somehow bewildered when we find that 2/3 of our tutors disagree about the well-preparedness of our students to tackle TMAs. Why? Because there was some sort of struggles from our, particularly the freshmen. They're such fledgling, they're such novices. They lack the linguistic and the conceptual means to tackle TMAs. And the lack of knowledge also about research methodology is another hindering block. They have the lack of preparedness, not only because this is their first year, but because they were not also prepared from high school about academic writing in particular. The second one is about our paper is about the students' need of a course on research methodology before they are assigned TMAs. Here we find, if you can see, the vast majority of our students, of our tutors actually, believe, it's like 90% of them believe that we really desperately need a course, a tailored course, a mandatory tailored course on research methodology across disciplines, not only in the FLS, in the business program, and in the ICT as well. Till this kind of, let's say, course would instill a certain awareness of the offenses of plagiarism as an intellectual theft, because students do not know. They just say, I'm sorry. They think that it's something very normal. They're just copying and pasting without acknowledging. So we're not trying to penalize them. We're trying to find and find the cure, rather to prevent it from the beginning by, with a strong curriculum, with a strong course, actually that stress on that. And this actually will definitely promote self-reliance, because one of the questions also regarding self-reliance and the students dependent on themselves in their TMAs, the consensus here among all the AU tutors is that our students lack self-reliance. This is explicitly obvious in the plagiarized TMAs detected by Turnitin. I had to go back to the quality assurance documents, and I found out across disciplines, it's not only in the FLS, but also in the other programs, there is a large, let's say, a number of students who actually have been caught by Turnitin committing plagiarism. There was, if plagiarism, for example, sometimes is not spotted through Turnitin, then we can find it through the flagrant anomaly between TMA grades and MTA grades. This makes the tutors think, hey, my God, we have to call these students to our offices. Now, if you have a handful of students, fine, you can call them to your offices. But if you have like 3,000 students in the FLS department, how would you call each student in order to, let's say, give an oral presentation, for example? So students' admittance sometimes of their incompetence to write a research makes us, yes, we desperately need a course on research methodology. The AU has a good infrastructure conducive to research. Here, because if we want our students to produce good TMAs, we have to provide the receptive skills. The receptive skills through reading. How could they read if they don't have a good infrastructure for reading? So research infrastructure is definitely a catalyst of scholarly research in academic institutions. Now, the AU officials have realized this drawback a long time ago, and there are so many attempts in order to overcome it by, for example, the latest subscription in, let's say, JSTOR. But this subscription actually in JSTOR was not very efficient, and therefore you find that 50% agree and the other 50% need more subscriptions in e-journals. I'm trying to get it a little faster. The TMAs, some tutors believe that TMAs add no academic value, and this is really makes us feel also, why doesn't it add academic value? It's more, when we went back to the questionnaires, we realized that the tutors who are teaching third level actually believe that this is very, very important. Why? Because their students are ready linguistically, conceptually, in terms of analytical skills, and therefore the TMA does not lose its, let's say, its value. But in first levels, definitely this is a drawback. TMAs enable our students to acquire analytical skills. Here, 2/3 of the tutors, again, disagree about this because for freshmen and for sophomore students, they are still academically not equipped to tackle TMAs. Now, there should be some workshops for GCSEs upon the updated assessment methods. Doctor, there should be exam questions as well.
1 minute, please. Conclude, please.
1 minute?
Please.
Okay. All right. Now, TMAs take much longer to grade. This is a very important part because most of the tutors at the AU believe that this month of TMA is the cruel month, they call it. Why the cruel month? And here you find that 95% of the tutors complain of the long duration of TMAs. There are so many findings of the literature that actually supports our finding. Here we have the word from the University of Washington, DC University, and we have also other findings from the University of the Open University of Australia that stress the finding that TMAs take so much to grade, and therefore we're supposed to resort to other resources, let's say, and to other programs like web design, like MyMathLab, but this cannot be applied upon the, let's say, other disciplines like literature, for example, or upon essays and in some sort of formative assessment. I'll just skip a few ones and go on to the last one, or rather to the recommendations, actually. Our recommendations is that GCC need to be oriented upon proper design of TMAs. IT program needs to adopt online homeworks, for example, like the WebAssign, the MyMathLab or ARIS. The feedback on TMAs ought to be brief, individual comment with a stress on feed forward rather than feedback only. Feed forward, that means prevent it before curing it. Give them from the beginning what they need in order to be confident in their approach and not resort to plagiarism or resort to buying it from other third sources. There should be a mandatory course on research methodology, and TMA are strongly recommended. In spite of all this controversy about TMAs, the co-authors believe in not jettisoning TMAs. No, we're not throwing them, but we're keeping them rather for advanced levels and not for first and second level, because our students are simply not prepared to tackle any research papers without the tool. It's like throwing them in the middle of the ocean without life jackets, and we're asking them to swim ashore. So thank you very much for your attention, and I would invite any questions, please.
Thank you, دكتورة. Thank you very much. شكرا لجميع المقدمين الأوراق. والآن ما عندنا وقت يعني إلا في حدود 5 دقائق. فبدنا نشوف مين اللي عنده تعليق ونقسم الوقت علينا. آمل إن 1 2. في أحد يبي يعلق أيضا؟ أوكي، إذا نبتدي من الأخ هناك. دقيقة لكل واحد.
It seems that there is agreement that if the students engage in their studies, then they have better grades. But I see in the lectures is only one-way communication. There is no engagement. Would it be possible to leave the lecturing to online or to video or interactive learning and emphasize on discussion in the lecture rather than just one-way communication? The lecturer comes and gives the lecture and then leave, and it's only 2 hours per every 2 weeks. Where do the students have a chance to interact with their lecturer face-to-face, and also to see their peers discussing the issues in the same time? Thank you.
Thank you very much. شكرا. تفضل طال عمرك.
Okay, I would like to comment about the TMAs and the evaluation system in general in the Arab Open University. I feel that the evaluation system is fixed, a little bit fixed, and it would be better if tutors would be given freedom to add their own quizzes or own way of testing students comprehensive of the material, because this also cannot allow for the better use of electronic learning in teaching the courses.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Please.
I'd like to thank all the speakers for their excellent presentations. My comments are related to the presentation of Dr. Sharafuddin and Dr. Shakira. Thank you very much for your presentation. I understand that there is a need for enhancement in research methodology for our students at all levels, and also the importance of enhancing, improving the critical thinking skills among our students. For both skills, I think they are needed at all levels, even at the graduate levels also. So I would encourage you and all other colleagues in Arab Open University to develop a plan for training our students, and we are ready to implement this plan. Thank you.
Thank you. Please.
I have a short comment, that is, to avoid this student plagiarism inside the classroom, in the TMAs, to avoid plagiarism of students in TMAs, why don't you let them do these TMAs inside the classroom? Okay, and then you write comments for them from time to time, unless you achieve your targeted goals and objectives.
Thank you very much. I have two questions now. Two questions. One is raised for Mr. Cameron. I'll give you 1 minute, and one for Dr. Shakir. I'll give you 1 minute and a half.
Thank you very much for the first question. I'm computer science. A friend of mine is a doctor. He's a quality assurance manager. He had a problem with the quality, with a traditional feedback system. I was thinking about the less cost to create that system, and I solved the problem of the public network as well. And thank you very much. I wish I could answer your question.
Thank you,
thanks.
Mr. Kawan. Thank you.
Yes, I'll answer the first question regarding the limitations, actually, of designing our own, let's say, exams, particularly with OU-based core courses, because we have the external examiners from the Open University, and we are affiliated with the Open University. By the end of the day, the students are going to have a degree from Open University. Therefore, they make sure that they authenticate, they approve of any kind of exam before it is administered to the students, including overall assessment and including TMAs, MTAs, and final examinations. Therefore, with OU-based core courses, there is no room for that. However, with the other courses, definitely tutors can give, particularly BCCs, have to give actually their kind of proposals, and it will be looked at by the course chair, and the course chair there is some sort of hierarchy. The course chair will take it over to the external examiners for approval, and therefore there is no room actually for us to give it at our ease. The other question is regarding rendering TMAs to in-class assessment. In fact, because of the shortage of time, this is one of our recommendations. There was a study conducted earlier upon 2 courses of the foundation courses, namely EL 111, 112, which actually rendered TMAs into in-class assignment. There is a study conducted after that showed that these students have performed much better with in-class assignment than with TMAs. Because in TMAs, they usually resort to plagiarism, and this gives them a 0. Whereas in class, there will be no zeros at all. So there was a beautiful bell-shaped curve that goes by the Higher Education Statistic Agency. And therefore, this is one of the reasons, based on these findings, one of the reasons we really would like to have TMAs rendered into in-class assignment at the first level only, until we equip our students with the research methodology, with the tools in order to tackle research and to be confident. Because most of our students say, I'm sorry, I researched plagiarism, but I don't know how to answer a TMA. In spite of our efforts to give some workshops and stuff, this did not work. We desperately need a whole course, a course that is so comprehensive about research methodology, because it will help them throughout their academic careers in the 4 levels of their learning experience.
Okay, thank you, Doctor. Thank you very much, and thank you everybody. شكرا جزيلا للجميع وشكرا للحاضرين، وانتهى وقت المحاضرة وكانت محاضرة شيقة. نستودعكم الله.